In a small village called Umedike, nestled between rolling green hills and the calm whisper of the Njoba River, lived a young woman named Amora. Her beauty was a gift from the gods, or so the villagers said. Amora's skin was as smooth and radiant as freshly polished ebony, her eyes sparkled like the morning dew, and her smile could charm even the most hardened heart. Her long, jet-black hair cascaded down her back like a river, and when she walked, it seemed as though the earth itself held its breath to admire her. Amora was born into a humble family. Her father, Okeke, was a farmer, and her mother, Ngozi, wove baskets to sell at the market. They were not wealthy, but they lived with dignity and taught Amora the values of kindness, honesty, and hard work. Despite her family's modest means, Amora always dreamed of a life of wealth and luxury. She often looked at the finely dressed wives of the rich men in the village and envied their jewelry, silk wrappers, and comfortable lives. As Amora grew older, suitors flocked to her parents' door. Young men from far and wide, charmed by her beauty, came with marriage proposals. Some were hard-working farmers, others were traders or craftsmen, but none of them could satisfy Amora's growing desire for wealth. She rejected each one, often cruelly, scoffing at their modest gifts and ambitions. "Why should I marry a poor man?" she would say. "I am too beautiful to live a life of suffering." Her parents tried to counsel her, warning her about the dangers of pride and greed, but Amora would not listen. She began to associate only with rich married men, knowing they could afford to spoil her with expensive gifts. These men, enchanted by her beauty, would buy her the finest clothes and jewelry, promising her a life of luxury if she would agree to be their secret lover. Amora became the talk of the village. The older women shook their heads in disapproval, and even the young men stopped chasing her. "She has no respect for herself," they muttered. "Beauty without wisdom is like a flower that blooms only to wither." But Amora was unbothered. She was convinced she was destined for a life of wealth, and she didn't care how she achieved it. One day, while attending a festival in a neighboring village, Amora met a man named Chief Okafor. He was a wealthy businessman, known for his sprawling estates and golden accessories. He was also married with 3 wives, but this did not deter Amora. She saw in him the promise of everything she had ever wanted. Chief Okafor was immediately captivated by Amora's beauty and began to court her with gifts that dazzled her: gold necklaces, imported fabrics, and even a small plot of land in the village. Amora felt she had finally found her match. For months, their affair blossomed. Amora grew accustomed to a life of indulgence, parading through the village in her new finery. But what Amora didn't know was that Chief Okafor had his own secrets. Beneath his charm and wealth lay a man consumed by greed and dark ambitions. One evening, as Amora sat admiring herself in a mirror, an old woman appeared at her door. It was Neka, the village herbalist, known for her wisdom and cryptic warnings. "Amora, my child," Neka said, her voice soft but firm, "I have seen a dark shadow following you. Be careful of the path you tread, for it may lead to your ruin." Amora laughed, dismissing the old woman's words. "Neka, you worry too much. I am young and beautiful, nothing can harm me." But Neka's words stayed with her, haunting her dreams with images of darkness and chains. One day, Chief Okafor invited Amora to his estate, saying he had a special gift for her. Excited, Amora dressed in her finest clothes and made her way to his luxurious home. When she arrived, Chief Okafor led her to a secluded part of the estate, far from prying eyes. He handed her a beautiful gold necklace and asked her to wear it. Amora, thrilled by the gift, placed it around her neck. But as soon as she did, she felt a strange heaviness in her chest and a cold wind swept through the room. Chief Okafor's demeanor changed. The warmth in his eyes was replaced by a chilling stare. "Amora," he said, his voice low and menacing, "you are the perfect offering for my ritual. Your beauty will bring me even more wealth and power." Amora's heart raced as she realized the danger she was in. Chief Okafor had lured her into a trap, intending to sacrifice her to his gods in exchange for more riches. As Chief Okafor called his guards to restrain her, Amora's survival instincts kicked in. She grabbed a nearby vase and smashed it over his head, causing him to stumble. Without a second thought, she ran as fast as her legs could carry her, tearing through the estate and into the surrounding forest. The night was dark, and the forest was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures. Amora could hear the distant shouts of Chief Okafor's men searching for her, but she didn't stop. She ran until her feet bled, her fine clothes torn by branches and thorns. Eventually, she stumbled upon a small clearing where she collapsed in exhaustion. As she lay there, gasping for breath, she remembered Neko's warning and when morning came, Amora made her way back to her village, disheveled and humbled. She went straight to Neko's hut and fell to her knees, begging for forgiveness and guidance. "My child," Neko said, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder, "the gods have spared you, but you must change your ways. True worth is found in love, family, and integrity, not in material things." Amora returned home to her parents, who embraced her with open arms despite her mistakes. She apologized to the suitors she had rejected and began a new life, walking alongside her parents and learning the value of hard work. In time, Amora met a kind and hardworking young man named Chike. He was not wealthy, but he loved her deeply and respected her. Amora, now wiser and humbled, accepted his proposal, and they built a modest but happy life together. The villagers marveled at the change in Amora and often told her story to their children as a lesson about the dangers of greed and the importance of humility. And so, Amora's beauty remained, but now it was matched by a heart full of gratitude and wisdom, making her truly radiant in the eyes of all who knew her.